Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are focusing on a topic that often gets sort of treated like paperwork.
PDS paperwork.
Exactly. But it's actually maybe the single most critical activity for any mission-driven organization. We're talking about nonprofit board recruitment.
It's so true. I mean, our sources for this deep dive are just completely clear on this getting board recruitment, right? Well, it's non-negotiable.
And if you don't,
If you fail to recruit effectively, you're really setting your organization up for chronic instability.
right. So our mission today is to give you the shortcut. We're going to unpack the core principles, the non-negotiable requirements, and the strategies you can actually use.
The goal being to build a board that isn't just compliant,
No.
but is high-functioning and truly catalyzes growth.
High functioning, I like that term. What does that really mean in this context?
Well, when we talk about high functioning, we mean a board that just seamlessly brings together a few key things. You've got skills, a deep passion for the mission, extensive networks, and a unified commitment to good governance.
And that combination is the magic ingredient.
That's it. It's what allows a nonprofit to not just, weather the storms, but to actually go out and seize opportunities.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start at the very foundation, commitment. Because verbal support is cheap, right?
So cheap.
We all know people who say, oh, I love what you do, but what does true dedication look like when you're governing a nonprofit?
The ideal board member, based on everything we've looked at, is someone who's willing to dedicate three things all at once.
Three things.
Their time, their money, and their reputation. And if any of those are missing, well, the organization is running at a deficit.
That concept of dedicating your reputation that's really interesting. It means you're not just volunteering your time.
Not at all.
You're linking your personal credibility to the success and, I guess, the ethical operation of the whole organization.
Precisely. And in terms of action, that commitment really has two non-negotiable pillars.
Okay.
The first, and it's the most visible one, is the commitment to just showing up.
Which sounds simple, but it isn't just about the quarterly meetings.
No, absolutely not. It means being present at key events, doing the committee work, and crucially, if you can, being present when the services are actually being delivered.
I think that physical presence piece is so underestimated, especially for new board members.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Nothing validates the hard work of the staff more or signals the mission's importance to the community than seeing a board member there on the ground, engaged.
It tells everyone this matters. This is worth my personal time.
Exactly.
Okay, but as we know, showing up is only half the battle. So this brings us to what is often the most uncomfortable, but maybe the most essential part of board service.
The money.
The monetary commitment. And the research we looked at, it does not mince words on this.
No, it doesn't. One article put it really bluntly. It said, the phrase, "I give my time, not my money," is explicitly unacceptable in effective board governance.
That probably catches a lot of people off guard.
It does, but the logic behind it is crystal clear.
So explain that logic, because I think for a lot of people listening, this is the tension point. If you want a diverse board, especially an economically diverse board, how can you also mandate a financial contribution?
Because it's the ultimate litmus test of conviction. Think about it from a funder's perspective.
Okay.
When your nonprofit is going for significant funding, say a huge government grant or a big ask from a major foundation, one of the very first things they check is the percentage of board giving.
And they want to see what number.
They universally demand 100% participation.
Not 95, not 99, 100%. Why so strict?
Because foundations see the board as the ultimate checkpoint. I mean, if the people who are responsible for the strategic direction and the financial health of the organization aren't personally invested enough to donate something,
Even a small amount.
even a small amount, right, then why should an outside funder commit millions? 100% participation just signals complete confidence and unified commitment from the very top.
So it's tactical. It's not just an ethical thing. It's about opening the door to major funding.
It's incredibly tactical.
And we should probably stress here, 100% participation does not mean everyone writes the same massive check.
Absolutely correct. That's a crucial distinction. The amount is a decision made between the board and the individual. It needs to be meaningful to them, but it shouldn't create a burden.
But the act of giving itself.
The participation, that's what's mandatory. It's proof that they're all in, financially invested in the mission's long-term survival.
Okay. So once we've defined that commitment level, time, money, reputation, the next and arguably harder step is, Where do you find these people?
Right. Where do they come from?
Where do you source these high-performing individuals who are willing to give all three?
The sourcing strategy has to be treated with the same rigor as, say, finding a major corporate partner. It has to be multifaceted, and this is key, it has to be ongoing. You never stop looking.
What are the best places to start? Because I imagine just relying on your current board's friends and contacts eventually leads to an echo chamber?
It almost always does.
Yeah.
A current board's network is, it's your best first resource, but you have to look wider. Staff should absolutely be empowered to suggest names.
Oh, that's a good point. They're on the front lines.
They see mission alignment and potential champions up close every day. And then you start leveraging more modern tools.
You mean like LinkedIn?
Yes, exactly. Leveraging the LinkedIn contacts of your board and their friends is a core component now. But for more sophisticated organizations, they move into what the research calls specialized prospect research techniques.
Okay, specialized prospect research sounds like something you do for major donors. How is it different for a board member search?
It's very similar, but the objective shifts a bit. It moves from just wealth assessment to network mapping and skill identification.
So instead of asking, can this person give $100,000?
You're asking, who does this person know? What specific skills, legal, tech, marketing do they have? And are they connected to a community that we're missing in our governance structure right now?
It's a much more rigorous, data-driven approach.
It is. It's about closing specific gaps on your board.
Which leads us perfectly into the topic of diversity. This is essential if you want to avoid that echo chamber effect we just mentioned.
Absolutely essential.
When we talk about diversity and board composition, what's the sort of expanded definition that the sources were really stressing?
They really emphasize moving beyond the important baseline of, ethnic and gender diversity. A truly high-functioning board needs a more holistic diversity.
So what does that include?
It means including a variety of professional backgrounds. I mean, if everyone's a lawyer, you're missing a huge operational perspective. It also requires age distribution, bringing in younger perspectives alongside that seasoned wisdom.
And what about economic diversity? We just talked about the 100% giving rule. How do those two things coexist?
That's where governance maturity really comes into play. Economic diversity ensures you're making decisions that affect real people, not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
So how does a mature board handle that?
A mature board handles the giving mandate by making sure that the required amount is, like we said, personally significant but accessible. It makes room for people who bring incredible network capital and lived experience, even if they don't bring personal wealth.
And the research highlights one category of diversity that I found incredibly powerful.
Let me guess, including clients.
Including current or former clients on the board.
It is often the most critical inclusion. I mean, just think about it.
Yeah.
Who is better positioned to tell you about the true impact of your mission than the person actually receiving the service?
It grounds the entire decision-making process.
It moves the board out of the theoretical what if and into the real world of what is.
Right. And tapping into all those different lived experiences just ensures that when the board is debating something critical, every perspective is actually in the room. It makes the final decision truly informed.
And it empowers every single board member to provide their unique perspective rather than just, silently nodding along. When you have that kind of diversity, you minimize your risk and you maximize your relevance.
Okay, so we've defined commitment, we've sourced strategically, we've selected a diverse candidate. Now let's shift focus a bit. Once someone is on the board, what's their main job beyond the legal and financial oversight?
It really shifts to execution. And the primary role, besides governance, is that of advocate.
Advocate.
Every board member has this crucial obligation to be a mission ambassador. The moment they accept that role, they're instantly seen by the wider world as a leader on that specific issue.
They become a representative for the mission 24/7, whether they're at a gala or just, I don't know, talking to a neighbor at the grocery store.
That's the power of linking your reputation to the cause. And that advocacy has to be leveraged. Nonprofit leadership has to ask new board members right away, how can we leverage your network for our mission?
And you can't just expect them to figure it out on their own.
No, you have to give them the tools.
They need support.
Absolutely. Preparation is key. They need to be supplied with up-to-date information and what the research calls collateral.
Let's define collateral here. We're not talking about like tote bags and pens.
No, definitely not. We mean narrative tools. So this includes tailored talking points, compelling stories about your work, recent impact reports, and a really sharp, concise elevator pitch.
So they're all singing from the same hymn sheet, basically.
Exactly. These are the standardized resources they can use to champion the organization in their own circles, ensuring the message is always unified and powerful.
That kind of strong support system is vital, and it connects directly to the final piece of this puzzle, which is making sure this commitment actually lasts.
Through a robust onboarding process.
Yes, a weak onboarding is probably the fastest way to lose a new board member's enthusiasm.
Oh, for sure. A strong process, on the other hand, is invaluable. It cements their participation for the long haul. It should feel less like getting a giant binder dropped on your desk and more like entering a strategic training academy.
So what are the absolute must-haves for that training? What subjects does a good onboarding process have to cover?
Okay, so there are 4 areas that have to be explored deeply. First, there's specific legal and organizational obligations. They need to understand the duty of care and the duty of loyalty, clearly.
Why do you think that gets glossed over sometimes? It seems so fundamental.
I think because it can feel dry, it feels like homework, but it's the foundation. They need to know the bounds of their authority, their responsibility for risk. If they don't get their legal exposure, they can't govern effectively.
Okay, so legal obligations first. What's number 2?
A really deep dive into the mission itself. Not just what the organization does, but why it exists. Its history, its culture, the whole ecosystem it operates in.
So this is where you connect their head to their heart.
Yes. You're ensuring the alignment is philosophical, not just transactional.
And the third topic. We're back to money. They have to understand the organization's economic health.
Yes. And a lot of board members feel intimidated by finances, but they have to get comfortable enough to read and interpret the key financial statements.
The P&L, the balance sheet.
The statement of activities, the statement of financial position, exactly.
Yeah.
They need to understand cash flow, reserves, revenue versus expenses. They are fiduciaries. They
Wow.
can't just delegate ignorance.
That's a great way to put it, delegate ignorance.
Okay, and the fourth crucial area.
The fourth is a practical discussion of what good governance looks like in practice at this organization.
Not just in a textbook.
Right. This means reviewing recent challenges, maybe even discussing past board failures, and explaining how meetings actually work, how dissent is handled, how decisions get ratified. That kind of comprehensive onboarding ensures they are not just passionate, but they're functionally prepared and responsible from their very first vote.
And it all circles back to that initial goal we talked about, building a high-functioning board. When you combine that rigorous recruitment with this kind of powerful onboarding, you get the ultimate value.
A board with diverse perspectives and real commitment.
A board that can help a nonprofit survive the challenges that are definitely coming and seize massive opportunities for growth. It transforms the board from just a regulatory hurdle
Into a strategic engine, a catalyst for success.
Right.
Finding the right people is absolutely critical.
A high-functioning board really does act as both a safety net and a powerful engine. That's the end game.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so for our final thought, if we accept that getting new board members requires 100% giving from the current board, and that you have to have a healthy governance structure before you invite new people in, then the work has to start internally.
Oh.
So, what is the first critical step a nonprofit must take internally, and maybe even document, before they even start looking for a new candidate?
They need to audit their own health. They have to objectively assess and align the commitments of the board they already have. Without that internal clarity, you just risk onboarding a great new person into a dysfunctional environment.
That's a powerful thought to leave you with. We encourage you to reflect on that question. Is your internal house in order? And further, which dimension of diversity, economic, professional, or client perspective is your organization most critically overlooking right now? Thanks for diving in with us.